So now I have glued down the first 5 rows. It's looking pretty nice. The rows are quite straight actually, very straight indeed. And in the meantime, while the glue is drying, I can actually start cutting and preparing the boards that will go on that side. So once that is done, I can just simply remove the straps, install, let's say, 2-3 more lines, and put them back on. Now I have pre-cut the last plank that is gonna go under the threshold here and underneath both of the door side frames, or whatever they're called. And it's a bit difficult if you install this first line and then you try to put this underneath, because what is gonna happen is that this is gonna go at an angle. So this point right here, once it's gonna be touching there, once you're gonna be pushing it underneath, it's not gonna allow you for you to do that. So there's a trick that I'm gonna show you. So you have basically pre-cut your planks and just set this aside for now. And what you need to do is you need to take out these planks here. Sorry. And the trick is that first you install this plank underneath. You have a lot of space. Let's see. If you install this first, you have a lot of space to do that. It's laying flat and you just slide it in. And once you have done that, you just slide it in all the way up to the wall. And then you install these lines, not lines but these planks. And the trick is that you cut the groove from this side. There's still enough of it here to be connected with the tongue that's sticking out here, so that it's not gonna go up or down. It's gonna be held in place, but this is gonna give you more room. You're gonna have more space to push the plank in forward, and it's gonna be easier if you just drop it down and then push everything back again. And I'll show you basically how it's done. Good morning guys, so this is day 2 of our floor installation project. I've primed the room now the second time today. I did it once before I went home yesterday, and this is how much it has been done now. Yesterday my camera filled up with memory, so I couldn't take any more continuous shots. I just took some photos as you saw, and yeah, it's looking pretty good. All of the most time consuming bits are done, especially under the kitchen, under the wardrobe and the thresholds. So it should be pretty easy installing the rest of the floor today. And we have a few lines here that we'll have to cut around the column. That will take some time, but other than that, it should be plain and simple. Now, how do you cut, for example, this second plank that has to go underneath this wardrobe and then around here? How do you measure the space here and make sure that your gap is not too big from underneath the door? And what you do is you put, as I showed you before, one plank into the floor that has been already glued down, and then you put another one. So this one actually will be sitting here once it's cut. So what I do is I just make a pencil mark where my cut is gonna be, and this is where this board is gonna stop with the door here. It's gonna go under, and now once I have these two planks lined up, then I can just easily come and measure that gap from here. So you can see that this is around 3 centimeters, and over there it's pretty much the same. So what I do, I don't need this last part because I thought it's gonna go all the way, but since there's only 1 centimeter gap there, so it means that this board is gonna come up to here, and then there'll be like a small piece that's gonna go and stop there. So then I just measure 1 centimeter from here and 1 centimeter from here. I make a line, I cut it out, so this is gonna be removed, and then this board is gonna nicely go under the door, and the gap will be perfect. So this is how you easily can measure out difficult cuts like this. Another thing that I would recommend is that when you're marking your boards with a pencil, especially if they are pre-finished and there's not going to be any sanding, what we will do is we'll put another coat of hard wax oil on top, just to protect the floor more, since when the floor is oiled from the factory, it does come usually with 1 or at max 2 coats of oil or color. Depends on the manufacturer, of course, but what I wanted to show with you and share with you is that when you're marking your boards pre-finished, as I said, make sure you don't mark too much than you actually need. So for example, if your corner is gonna stop there and you know that, don't mark this line the whole way out. This is gonna be seen, the pencil is gonna be seen, and if you have to start removing pencil marks, if you have to start using wipes or things like that, what can end up happening is that once you're starting to rub the board, you might even actually remove the color from the plank. So just try to make sure that you mark only as much as you need, so that you know where to stop with the pencil and you don't make a mess out of the plank. I've seen guys install floors and then you come and see to the doors where they had to mark the boards, and then you see pencil marks where they have to make the cuts. You see pencil marks, they go all the way out and there, and they don't even clean them off. If you're doing it for yourself, just pay attention to that and keep it nice and tidy, and you'll save yourself time. Alright, and how do you stagger your joints? You've seen many instructional videos on what they do. They start with a full plank, and whatever they get on the other end, they use that as a beginner plank in their second row. Now what will end up happening is that you will end up having a sort of a pattern throughout the whole floor. It will repeat itself. So if the distance between the joints is 70 centimeters, then it's going to be 70 centimeters throughout the whole room. If you have a square room like this, pretty much square, you'll see a pattern. And it depends on you. If you like a pattern, that's good. If not, just don't do it. What you can do instead is, if you would look at the floor here, I try to install it as random as possible. And what you basically do, once you want to do that, all our planks here are 2 meters and 40 centimeters. You take one plank, and for example, what I did with this one, and you just put it on the floor, and you try to see where does it look best in relation to other joints. And I decided that here is gonna look best. Our joints are not that close to each other. There's not a system that you can easily or pattern see here, and that's how you do it. You put your plank here, and then you know how much you need to cut this one. You measure the distance, and that's how you do it. And some people say, oh, but then you have a lot of waste materials. Yeah, you will have a little bit more than if you would follow a pattern, but you put all your starter boards in one place and your end boards in another, and once you come up to the end, you don't just pick up a new plank and then use that to cut the little small piece that you need. Use the planks that you have, and you be smart. You don't use the shortest one, or no, you don't use the longest board that you have that was pre-cut for a short gap that's 20 centimeters long. You find the one that is closest to that, and that way you minimize the waste that you have, and you end up with a nice looking floor. You don't even see a pattern, it looks nice. I'll show you once everything is finished, but this is pretty much how I do it, and this is how I've been doing the whole floor, and it takes more time than following a pattern. You can start installing 3-4 rows at a time, and by doing this you have to check every single row. Where does the next joint look best in relation to other joints? It takes a bit more time, but this floor is going to be staying here for, I don't know, 20 maybe years, and you'll leave this quality. Not to make a mess in front of the column, what I had done previously is when I spread the glue, I stopped up approximately with this joint there. And what I saw now is that if I make a joint of this last row against the wall, stop there, it's gonna look quite nice in relation to the other joints. So what you do then is you just measure out the first piece that is gonna go up against the corner there, and that one is going to be 70.5 centimeters long. And then I just installed 2 full planks. Of course I just cut them for the width, and then I stop exactly here, and then I have a clean working space to cut around my column, not mine, but the column. So just keeping things clean is a good mindset to have. I've seen people spread the glue and then they try to cut around, and then something doesn't fit, they have to take it up again from the glue. It's just a mess. If you know that you'll have to do cutting, measuring, things like that, you can actually plan to stop before that. So for example, what I did when I installed the floors here is the line that I made, for example, with the glue, it stopped here, and I did that because I know that this plank had to be cut. So if I stop here, I put on my straps, then I can just pre-cut this one line, and that's it. Then I can measure out, let's say 4 lines again. This is pre-cut. I just put it, slide it underneath the kitchen, and I just continue working. And the same thing here. I stopped with the glue with this line here. I measure this board, I place it underneath, that's it, I'm good to go. It's much easier than having spread the glue all out, and then you could try to cut that board, and if it doesn't fit, you have to take it out. It's just messy. So try to plan ahead and try to keep things clean. And I've done all these mistakes myself, and I just found out that being clean, trying to think a few steps ahead, things like that, it really goes a long way. The whole process is very smooth, and it might look like you're working slower, but without making any mistakes, you're not wasting any time at all. I mean, look, the whole room looks clean. The working space is clean. I tried to set the papers and everything. Some guys just throw it all around, and then they say it's much faster that you clean up once at the end. I'm not sure I agree with that. Keeping everything in order, using your time as you go along with the work, it saves you time at the end. All I have to do is just pack up those papers, maybe vacuum the floor, just remove my tools, and that's it. I'm good to go. There's nothing else to do. Everything is done along the way. Yeah, of course, different people, different approaches, but nothing is a one solution fits all. But yeah, this is how I roll.